How can you make your entire video editing process a little easier? Are there any good ways to save you time and actually make your video better? What are some simple hacks to improve your workflow? Let's find out.
My name is Chris Cruz. I've spent almost 20 years traveling the country, talking into microphones and mixing on turntables. Now, I do it all from home. Let me show you how. This is Home Studio Catalyst.
On today's episode, we're talking all about video editing, a couple of tips and tricks and hacks that I found over the years to save me a little time, make it a better experience, and improve my workflow while I'm editing these videos. Because if you've ever produced any video beyond Snapchat or TikTok, you know this stuff takes a long time and can really be a headache if you're not organized. I hope you find something useful today as we go over 7 video editing hacks that have really helped me. And all these strategies can be used in any major video editor: Adobe Premiere, Sony Vegas, Final Cut on your Mac. I happen to be using Power Director, but it works on any platform. So let's jump in and see if you can pick up something useful to help you. Hack number 1, making a session shell. If you ever find yourself in an instance where you're making an episodic show, like this one I do every single week on YouTube, or a weekly show, or a once-a-month special, you're going to save yourself a lot of time by building a shell. And what I mean by that is taking the most used elements in your weekly, monthly, repeating videos and lay out a shell in your favorite video editor, so when you go to produce the next episode or the next video, you don't have to drag and drop every single piece in. A lot of it's already there. Oh my God, the alarm on the dryer is going off in the middle of the video, of course. For example, in Home Studio Catalyst, I have my intro in there, and then that floating square you see above my right shoulder all the time, as well as some of my most used icons, like all the social media platforms we talk about on the show: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And then at the end, I have my end card with my logo on it and a couple of seconds of just plain video that I can overlay on YouTube with an end card, so you can click to go to the next video. Regardless if it's 2 elements or 30, I do recommend just building a base layout or a session shell and saving that, so when you come back, it's a lot less work. Hack number 2, having a shorter intro on your videos. As a proud ADHD kid, I can tell you people's attention spans have not gotten longer, especially in the age of cell phones, and especially in the age of quarantine, where we're all on our phones and in front of our TVs and screens even more than before. So if you've got some 20 or 30 or even 40-second intro for your video, I find it highly unlikely people are going to sit through it and wait for your content. There are exceptions to the rule, like I know some channels have a theme song with a produced video that can be really funny, but for the most part, I think the shorter and more concise you keep it, the better. And you know, the video for my channel isn't perfect, but I took some time to produce it as short as I could, but also to get across the point of what all these videos are. Let's check it out again really quick. I'll tell you what I'm talking about.
My name is Chris Cruz. I've spent almost 20 years traveling the country, talking into microphones and mixing on turntables. Now, I do it all from home. Let me show you how. This is Home Studio Catalyst.
It's 11 seconds long, and in that 11 seconds, you know exactly what I'm going to be talking about on this channel. So, in my opinion, I think that's pretty good. If anything, I might even make it a little bit shorter, but I didn't want it to sound rushed because I already talk super fast, so I wanted to kind of pace it a little bit slower than I normally would talk. And on the topic of intros, I don't know what it is, but it drives me crazy when people take one of those, put your logo in here for $4.99, animated logo intros, and then they use that on your channel, but you see it on 1,000 other channels, and I don't know, I just think they look cheap and lame and kind of shitty. I'm just not a fan of them personally. And some of them go on way too long. All right, so there's, you would insert your logo there over the intro logo 1. And oh, look at this gun and that scope. Oh, it's a crossbow. Wow, this is really cool. And there's your logo again. I can't wait to start this video and get some really compelling, oh, okay, maybe I'll get some content later. And there's more of the crossbow. And oh, there's a Optimus Prime arrow shooting out with the logo on it. This is a rather long intro, and there it is. Here's the why is this so fucking long? Why is this taking forever? Oh my Lord. Oh, okay, there's the logo. Okay, that was like literally 3 years of my life. Way too long. Oh my gosh. So again, when in doubt, make a shorter intro for your videos. Hack number 3, using smaller, cleaner titles. I talk about this all the freaking time, but 2 of my favorite brands marketing-wise are Nike and Apple. I think they do a great job of conveying just this really cool feel to their fans using very few words, and also keeping those words very small. Now, this is open to opinion, but I do think a smaller, cleaner title just looks sexier. It looks like we're living in 2021. It looks very modern, as opposed to some giant, enormous ass text that takes up the entire screen just to make sure that people saw it. Now, on billboards, t-shirts, things like that, on a vehicle wrap, I think a bigger logo is better, but we're strictly talking about video on today's episode. So for video, I really think a smaller, cleaner title just makes your channel look more modern, makes people think that you know what you're doing. It makes it just look like better quality overall. And also fonts. Well, yes, I do think your title should be small and clean and as few words as possible. Make sure you pick a font that is easy to read, but also semi-cool looking. Like, you don't want to take a small, clean logo and then use some clown font and make it look stupid like this. Again, just my thoughts, but if you look at any big brand marketing, for the most part, they're using smaller fonts and less words. Hack number 4, using quick and simple transitions. The only instance where I can think that a YouTube channel or a television show or a movie use some kind of transition other than a jump cut 99.9% of the time is Star Wars, when they use those wipes to go from scene to scene. And to be clear, I love Star Wars. I have Star Wars tattoos all over my arm, but that movie was made in the 70s. I think in 2021, it's time we update our transitions and keep them really simple. For example, let's say in your video, you are referencing your all-time favorite music video that maybe you made yourself.
And let me touch you back with my baby hand.
See, that looks extremely stupid, when instead you can go just from you talking straight to the video.
With my baby hand.
Do you see what I mean? It's just so much cleaner, it's sexier, it's faster, it gets to the point. And honestly, I think all those transitions that come preloaded with all your video editing softwares, I think they look kind of shitty and just really cheap. I never see any successful or popular YouTubers using them. You barely ever see it in TV and movies, unless it's for some specific effect. Like maybe you're going for some dream effect. You want to do a cool transition for that for like comedic purposes. But other than that, I just use straight jump cuts. It's a lot less work. It looks cleaner and it looks modern. Hack number 5, tying into number 4, is breaking up your shots. And all I mean by that is not sitting on one shot too long, because it can get kind of boring. And like we said at the beginning, people's attention spans are ultra short. So the more you can throw at them in one shot, the better. So maybe it's a jump cut, jumping in a little bit closer and cropping the shot, or maybe it's some B-roll in the background showing what you're talking about. Or if nothing else, maybe it's some graphic over your shoulder, so it gives the viewer just something else to watch, so they're not just staring at you talking. I do think there's a time and a place for like a one-shot video. Maybe if you're doing some kind of confession or something very serious or something that just has a more serious subject matter, I think that's okay. But in most instances, I find the more action and the more motion you can put in the video, the longer people are going to watch. Hack number 6, lower your preview quality while you're editing. Now, this is a really simple step. And again, you can do this in any video editor. I'm using Power Director, and it takes literally a right click and a left click. And the reason I do that, it just lowers the processing amount your computer has to do while you're editing. And really, it just makes it easier for your computer to keep up while you're doing everything. Now, as you're doing your final watch through before you produce your video to post it, I would definitely watch the whole thing in the highest quality possible. But if you find that your computer's going a little slow, it's chugging along, taking longer times to read your inputs, you may want to lower your preview quality while you're editing just to make everything a little bit easier on your machine. And just to be clear, it's not going to render and mix down in that quality. That's just for literally the screen in front of your face while you're editing for you to watch. Hack number 7, and just a heads up, there's a potty word coming because it's really important. Save all the fucking time. It's really self-explanatory, but trust me, you're going to want to be saving your work as you go. I would say every 60 seconds, maybe every 2 minutes. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're using some high-end Alienware or some MacBook Pro, or if you're using some 10-year-old laptop with iMovie, your video editor is going to crash in the middle of your session. I guarantee it. It's happened to all of us at some point, and there's nothing worse than getting that one clip completely perfect, and as you're watching it back, boom, crash. Now, all that work is lost, and you got to go back and remember where you left off so you can redo all the stuff you just did before you saved. If your video editor has it, I highly recommend setting up a autosave feature where it'll save every 60 seconds, every 30 seconds, every number of moves you make. I just found the keyboard shortcut for Power Director. It's Control-S. I Control-S after about every 5 or 10 clicks, literally. I know it sounds obsessive, and I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, you're going to want to save more often than you think, because you're going to find yourself in that instance where you didn't save and you completely screwed yourself and got to go way back and do a bunch of extra work. And the whole point of this video was to save us time while editing and to improve your workflow. And nothing takes a bigger shit on your workflow than your computer crashing and your work not being saved. Once you feel like you're saving your work often enough, double that amount, and then I think you'll be good. I just don't want you to put in a bunch of work and lose your stuff, because it sucks, trust me. Those are my 7 hacks to help you save time, make your video editing sessions easier, and just to improve your workflow overall. I hope at least 1 or 2 of these tips helps you out when you're making videos just like this. And do me a favor, if you're watching this video directly on YouTube, or maybe you're watching a link on Facebook or Twitter, just drop a comment really quick. So one, I know you saw the video, and two, I would love to know any tips that you have for when you're editing your video, maybe to save you time, improve your workflow, or maybe just to save your sanity. I'd love to hear your tips. On next week's episode of Home Studio Catalyst, I'm going to show you how in your video editor, in just a couple of steps, you can take your Zoom calls from looking like this to this. I know it looks like there's a lot going on, but it's super easy. I'll walk you through everything next week. I'm Chris Cruz. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.